And next we'll hear an address from Minister of Commerce and Consumer Affairs, the Honourable David Clark, for our second political keynote. With responsibilities that include financial markets, corporate law and governance, competition, consumer and trade policy, and a focus on opportunities to succeed for everyone in society, Minister Clark will provide valuable insights for our audience on New Zealand's social and economic potential and the important role of our sector. As the financial services sector deals with the effects of the pandemic, we are working to understand the immediate challenges as well as the long-term impacts and what that means for customers and their changing needs. The sector has a key role to help customers to make good decisions in a volatile operating environment. At a time of crisis, while we're working to contain and mitigate the impacts of COVID-19 on the sector and its customers, we're also responding to regulatory change in areas including advice, conduct, default KiwiSaver providers. The financial services industry has many priorities to focus on while always putting customers, especially the most vulnerable, at the heart of all we do. Many thanks to sponsors Asteron for this session, and first a brief introduction from Richard Clippen.
Very warm welcome to the FSC's ReGenerations conference, and a very warm welcome to Minister Clark, who joins us today for a discussion on really what the past, present and future looks like in terms of our sector, but also around the context of ReGenerations and the very tough 12 months that we've had. Minister has not been a stranger to the sector, and we really appreciate his time today, as we have in fact appreciated his time all the way through the year and through a number of other events. And so with that, a very warm welcome, Minister, who joins us from Wellington, and over to you.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā karangatanga maha o te wā. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. E ngā mana whenua, ngā ti whātua o Ōrake, anu ne aku mihi kia koutou. Noku te hanarei kia haere mai ki te whakanuia tēnei huihuinga ma ke hira. Nō reira, ngā manaakitanga ki runga i a tātou katoa, tēnā koutou, huri noe te whare, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Well, good morning, Richard. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, first off, for the work that you all do at the FSC. That work has gone to ensuring that we can still attend this conference despite the ongoing COVID-19 restrictions. The theme of this year's conference is ReGenerations, which focuses on the importance of recovery and moving forward together in both the good times and the tough times. And I think it is particularly important when we think about what the world has gone through in the last 18 months. The financial services industry has a key role to play in New Zealand's economic recovery from the pandemic and increasing the financial well-being of Kiwis in the longer term. It's important for us to continually think about how we can improve financial services to serve the needs of customers when the sector and economy is thriving. But more importantly, we need to be thinking about what happens when we hit turbulence. And two words come to my mind when I think about the theme of today's conference. They are trust and confidence. The reason for that is because trust and confidence in financial services are essential to consumers investing in financial products and engaging with the expertise of industry. Kiwis should expect to have access to high quality products and advice to improve their financial well-being, and for these products and services to perform as expected. As we know, when the economy is performing well and unemployment is low, consumers will increase their consumption and their savings. In times like this, trust and confidence in financial services is naturally high. However, when things get difficult, such as during this pandemic, people will more likely make tough decisions, which could have an effect on their financial well-being. This is why it's particularly important for financial institutions and advisors to consider and address their customers' changing needs and interests, especially when they're vulnerable. As an example, and it's one I've used before, during this pandemic, we've seen some KiwiSaver members make the decision to switch from a growth fund to a more conservative fund. We know from data supplied to the FMA that at least 12,700 younger KiwiSaver members switched from growth to conservative funds during the first lockdown between February and April 2020. As a result, they may have locked in their losses. In these moments, I'd like to see consumers have the trust and confidence in the financial services sector to seek out the advice they need, to look for appropriate financial products, and to have the appropriate tools available to them to navigate these difficult decisions. So how do we increase consumer trust and confidence? Well, ultimately, it's about ensuring that customers' interests are baked into every process, from product design to post-sale care. Both the government and the industry have a role to play here. The government has already taken a number of steps towards improving consumer outcomes and the financial well-being of New Zealanders. And that includes a new financial advice regime, which sets industry-wide standards for conduct and competence. We've also brought about changes to the default KiwiSaver funds and the appointment of the new default providers. And we can't overlook the new conduct of financial institutions regime, which will ensure that banks, insurers, and non-bank deposit takers are keeping fairness and consumer outcomes front of mind when dealing with customers. Within my commerce and consumer affairs portfolio, I'm also focusing on a number of other projects to create better outcomes for consumers. This includes consulting on buy now, pay later services to gain a better understanding of the emerging landscape and find out how these products could trigger financial hardship for some consumers. From there, we can see whether regulation is needed for these products. The establishment of a consumer data right framework will allow consumers to securely share data about themselves with trusted third parties, including financial institutions. And you can only imagine the new and exciting financial technologies that we'll see stem from that. I'm also having a look at KiwiSaver settings. KiwiSaver has gone from strength to strength over the last 15 years, but there are still things we can tweak, including the contribution settings, to get more members enrolled. If we get these things right, we can increase financial resilience, improve equity in the system, and improve the depth of our capital markets. When seeking to build consumer trust and confidence, changing the law is only the first step. As the providers and distributors of financial services and products, it is ultimately you who have the power to make positive change and create better outcomes for Kiwis. I challenge you to constantly ask yourselves, are the actions you are taking geared towards ensuring better outcomes? Will they build consumer trust and confidence in financial services over the long term? The government recognises that legislative change on the scale we've seen recently results in substantial organisational change for the industry. I'm acutely aware of that and acknowledge the challenges this presents to many of you, particularly during the pandemic. I want to assure you that the government will be keeping these challenges and pressures in mind when planning future work programs. Please continue to reach out to me and my officials with any concerns, and please continue to provide submissions on important issues we seek your views on. As I draw to a close, I want to focus again on the need to build consumer trust and confidence in financial services. You, as the financial services industry, can make a huge difference to the financial well-being of everyday New Zealanders. Together, let's build a better financial future for the generations of today and tomorrow. Nō reira, ngā mihi nui kia koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā rā tātou katoa. Kia ora koutou.
the Honourable David Clark for giving us the good oil on what's happening in the commerce and consumer landscape now and in 2022 and beyond. The Minister talked about the key role of the financial services sector in improving the well-being of Kiwis over the longer term. The duty to serve the needs of customers is even more essential during turbulence when investors are facing tough decisions and tough challenges. Trust and confidence are key and are essential to consumers investing in financial products and seeking advice. So we need products and advice to be high quality. And customers' needs must be baked into every process from product design to post-sale care. The Minister signalled other focus areas for achieving better outcomes, including KiwiSaver settings. And the government has acknowledged the challenges the sector faces, including organisational change requirements in response to regulatory change, and invites us to continue to communicate concerns and to provide submissions. The Minister talked about the aims of increasing financial resilience, improving equity in the system, and increasing depth in our capital markets. Our industry is charged with making positive change to create better outcomes for today and for the future. We thank Astron for their sponsorship of this session, and Graham Hill will provide a vote of thanks.
Hi, I'm Graham Hill, Executive Manager Distribution for Astron Life, winners of the Insurer of the Year for 2021, and something that the team here at Astron are really proud of. I'm delighted to be here today to support the Financial Services Council at the ReGenerations conference, which is highlighting the importance of recovery and going forward together in both good and also trying times. I'd like to thank the Honourable David Clark for taking the time to engage with the financial services industry and to provide valuable insights for us today. Now, I'm sure you're all going to enjoy the rest of this conference, and hopefully for 2022, we'll be able to get together in person once again. So on behalf of the team at Astron, a big thank you to the Honourable David Clark.